Welcome to another episode of Cancer Tamer. I'm your host, Dr. Charlie Ferrer. And today we have some great information for you, as always, to share, to impart, and to give you hope for the future and things to do. So, of course, you know my co-host, Debra Santulli-Barone, who is with us today, and we'll be talking about plant-based nutrition. So let's get started. One of the things that we're doing for this year, which is very important, is that we are actually doing the Breast Cancer Diaries, the play. And so we are putting together a compilation of stories from different women who have breast cancer, who are going through breast cancer, have gone through breast cancer, and would like to share their ideas of what's going on. This is what we call a dramedy.
Yes.
Little bit of drama, whole lot of comedy.
It's got to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun because, you know, one of the things that I find is that some of the things that we go through, the insanity, and I love to say the insanity of breast cancer, is so hysterical that people just look at you going, you're lying, that couldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And you're just going, yeah, it did. My life is a sitcom at the moment.
That's right. And at one point you just have to laugh because, you know, there's no more tears left. And after a while you're like, okay, let me twist this around. It was devastating, but now let me make it fun. And somehow, some way, make it funny.
And it is that piece of also looking for the joy in your life.
Right.
And so that's a lot of what we want to bring about in the play. So it won't be just, oh, well, I'm so sad.
Right.
You know, you have a little bit of that, but you also have all the fun stuff that we talk about that we can learn from. And also an educational piece for all you physicians and medical providers and practitioners and social workers, technicians and everyone else that's dealing with someone with breast cancer, that you can learn a little bit about how to deal with us and how to better help and also how to treat the person, not the disease.
Right, and even family members too.
Right, and a lot of what I see is that you forget that there's a person behind that breast cancer.
Right.
And so being able to remember that, which is one of the things that we want to do in the play. The reason we're letting you know now, it's going to be in October 5th, here in Staten Island, at the Hilton or at the Hampton Inn, and we are having a casting call. So anybody who's interested in being a part of the play, please contact us at info@cancertamer.org to get information, to be able to share some of the things, to be able to impart some of your words of wisdom to other women. And we'll be hosting those in the show. And also to be a part, we're doing a compilation of faces. Some of the people here are going to be helping us doing some of the video work and being able to show the faces of the women that have cancer.
Right. The different faces of cancer, it's all volunteer. You're doing it, you know, you're volunteering your time.
Right.
And it should be interesting.
And it'll be interesting because it'll be a little bit of your legacy to be able to share that with people.
Definitely.
You know, another.
And that's part of the celebrative life.
And it is part of the celebrative life
it's an
because
event.
it is an event that we're doing, and it's also a wonderful way of you to be able to get your word out, to be able to share things for yourself, and to be able to have fun and poke holes and poke fun.
And have a nice night.
Yeah,
you know, really.
Because we're also having a DJ that's going to be there.
After
we're
party.
having music. We're having an after party. We're having a cast party. We're having party.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about, partying.
Well, getting together and sharing the beauty of life with each other. So save the date for October 5th. At the Hampton Inn in Staten Island, and also we're going to be doing the casting call coming February and February and March. So look on our website for information on that. Today is a really important show because I don't know if you realize some of the things that we go through and find out for you. So Debra actually went and got herself educated as a nutritionist.
Well, a plant-based
certified nutrition consultant.
Right.
And so she's going to tell us a little bit about some of that.
Yes. So, so I got my certificate from T. Colin Campbell Institute up in Ithaca. It was online. It was my first online course in my life. I was so spastic in the beginning. I had to keep calling up the IT service over there going, I don't know what I'm doing. I couldn't even start it. It was so comical. They walked me through it, and it was really great. I learned so much. I learned about the statistics. I learned about what the doctor had studied with the China study. But basically, if you want to make it simple, because diet, and I don't call it a diet, this is a life change. You know, you had cancer, right now you don't have cancer, keep it at bay, you know, and live healthy. So do it slowly. A simple thing like oils, when you make, let's say you're sauteing spinach or any vegetable, and normally you put the oil, you put the garlic. The oil has a lot of fat. I don't care what oil it is, they're all the same saturated fats, first of all. Olive oil, any of them. Yes, olive oil is good. It doesn't work well with high heat. So like grapeseed oil is better for high heat. Canola oils that say high heat is on it. But you want to limit the oil because any fats can make inflammation, and inflammation in your body is a problem. So what I do and what I've learned is that you can use low sodium vegetable broth. You can get it at any store. I usually buy either free range or I buy organic free range, but always low sodium because sodium too high isn't good for your bones. So when I'm sauteing, I put maybe a teaspoon of oil, whether it's olive oil or canola or whatever, and I saute the vegetable with the garlic, if you like garlic, but I put a lot of broth. I use vegetable broth because it's less protein. Because sometimes a lot of animal protein also makes inflammation.
Yeah, and you can use the broth to help the cooking.
Yeah.
The cooking process.
Yeah,
so
it definitely
of the
does.
Oil,
yeah.
Just like using the sugar,
right.
You know, substituting applesauce.
Right, applesauce. Even a pureed prunes can work well in a cake mix or any kind of thing for sugar.
For that
it's a lot more
substitution.
Natural. So that's what I like to do, and so that's basically one of the things. Another thing is, again, with the animal protein. Our body isn't really made for that much protein. People think they need an abundance of protein through the day from animals, and you don't. You can get your protein from chickpeas, kidney beans, whatever. You know, you just have to keep track of things, and it can work out well. Your protein could be from many sources. Some plants have protein in it too. The only ones that really need a lot of protein are infants, because they're growing at such a fast rate and they need a lot of protein to build.
But I would say, you know, when you're going through this, you also need protein to be able to help you heal.
Right.
And so, you know, what Debra is basically getting at is the fact that you need to look for healthy protein.
Right.
To look for you know, plant-based nutrition so that you're getting protein out of nuts, out of plants, out of you know, pure organic meats.
Right.
Because I'm a big meat eater.
Yeah.
So you try to take away my steak, I'm going to bite you.
Yeah. Now grass-fed meat is healthier. You know, so if you got to have beef, have you know, grass-fed if possible. If you're gonna have chicken, because I didn't give up my chicken completely. I like chicken, so I try to go as natural as possible.
And Debra's talking, but we're having technical difficulties here.
That's right. But if you have to have chicken and meats, fine. But you know, and if you can't afford organic chicken, look for the most. Not the word natural, because that's a bunch of bull, I've learned, but just look for, it doesn't mean anything because the FDA doesn't approve.
Everything is natural.
Yeah, but look for no hormones, no steroids, free-range chickens. Do you know that chickens that are caged have a lot of stress, believe it or not, and the stress makes a stress hormone, cortisol. Cortisol makes fat cells make estrogen. So now you have these chickens that have a lot of estrogen. Now you're eating more estrogen, so if you're breast cancer was estrogen induced, what are you doing to yourself? You're overloading yourself with a lot of hormones. So that's very important to know.
So you want happy chickens.
Yeah.
You know,
the same
like
thing
Purdue, doesn't Purdue do the joke of we make happy chickens?
That's right. That's true.
And I remember when I went to China, they actually They meant to say they were healthy chickens, but we make our chickens happy.
Yeah, they love that word.
That was,
happy.
So that was their their commercial.
But it's important, to know this stuff. These are just little simple tidbits. If you're gluten intolerant, well, this book about plant-based said, fine. Don't have the flour or anything, do the gluten. You could make, all right, even oatmeal, I can put it in a blender and make a flour out of it, and it doesn't have gluten in it. So you can do things like that. If you like cake, you can make a gluten-free cake.
Yeah, and I do it all the time.
Yeah,
I make,
believe it or not.
I love my banana bread.
Yeah, I love banana bread, yeah.
And so I'm always making banana bread, and the recipe calls for like a cup and a half of sugar.
And you don't have
no way I'm going to do that.
Banana is sweet enough. But applesauce is
and
good.
You substitute applesauce.
Right, or
you can
pumpkin
substitute
you did.
Pumpkin.
Yeah, the pumpkin was
pumpkin
good.
banana bread.
Yeah, and you put in the nuts so that you have your omega-3 fats that you need. Walnuts, whether it's pecans, almonds, and you can even put in the blender, processor almonds and make an almond flour. There are things like that. You don't need as much sugar. When I make something that calls for a cup of sugar, no, you don't need
I
that.
cut my sugars by half or even a third.
With fats, you don't have to do the oil like they say. You can do the banana, you can do the applesauce, you can do pureed prunes. If you don't like the taste of banana, you can do the pureed prunes to make that. The same thing with the eggs. Oh, what I learned too was, all right, let's say you don't want to use eggs because you're not doing dairy. Okay, what you can do is, I think it's, I'll put it on the website though, I think it's 2 teaspoons of chia seeds, and you put it in 6 to 8 teaspoons of water, and you let it soak for maybe 15-20 minutes, and it gets gel-like, just like an egg. So you can actually, do anything. If you like waffles, I like waffles. So if you could do gluten-free flour and not use the egg and use almond milk. So this way, there's no dairy, there's no gluten, and you can still have your waffle. I put in a waffle line, it works out great. So these are very interesting things. If you have to have grains, or you like grains and breads, whatnot, there's so many. There's barley, there's brown rice, for people who want that, oats.
And the whole thing is the idea of being able to change up your eating habits, being able to
even a nut.
Introduce something different.
Right.
And one of the beauty things that we're going to do this year is that we are actually connecting with one of the local chefs on Staten Island who is going to be doing a healthy show with us, a healthy cooking. And our requirement is it has to be 30 minutes or less.
Right.
Because that's as long as you keep me in the kitchen. Although I got into cooking, so I stay in the kitchen a little bit longer because I just enjoy cooking.
Right.
Because for me, the cooking is my way of saying, Charlie, I want you healthy.
Right.
And I love you. And that's my way of saying to myself, I love you. And so I cook for myself and I cook fun stuff. Yeah. And I've gotten away from using the oils.
Right.
And I actually do a little bit of chicken broth.
Right.
And I simmer my stuff with that, which cooks just as good and just as delicious.
And less fattening, which is great.
And I do actually, I love cooking I have to have my meat. I do my meat, but I put like turnips and pumpkin and squash and stuff in it. And so I simmer it with chicken broth. Amazing. For my steak, I put chicken broth.
No, but it's
but it makes it taste. And what I love to make it that sweet, because I have like a sweet tooth, I actually cut up. I peel my apples.
Oh, nice.
My tart granny apples.
Right.
And I chop them up into little chunks and I throw it in.
Oh, nice.
And so now I have this wonderful, delicious, not super sweet, but just a tasty little tangy sweet in with my pumpkin and in with my turnips and in with my steak, that it just all comes together and it just tastes so delicious.
That's good.
And you can't even taste the apple. It doesn't taste like apple, but it gives you that crunch that I like.
It's very good.
I like crunchy.
Yeah, like when I do the waffle, again, I go back to waffles. I actually shred zucchini in it. I use a cheese grater. I shred zucchini in it. You can't even tell it's in there. And this way I have some fiber with the, and the vitamins from the vegetables. But also when we're talking about plant-based, again, you can look. You have to start simple and slow, because if you just cut off everything, you're not going to stick with it. Let's face it.
No,
And there are times you just have to
one
have
thing
fun,
a month.
and I have fun, and I eat whatever, whatever will be. Just make sure you have it. Like if you're having oatmeal in the morning, then put in flax seeds. Grounded, crushed flax seeds, so you have your omega-3. You can put in your walnuts. I don't suggest the fruit on top of the oatmeal, because carbs have oatmeal. If you put almond milk, there's some carbs. Why overtax with carbs? Save your fruit for when you're hungry an hour later. Then I have my apple, whatever, And the same thing, if you make pork, but you can slice up apples and put sauerkraut, which is good for you because it's a good probiotic, and you can have that, and it tastes really good. You can put, raisins in it, whatever.
So things to consider as you change your eating patterns.
Right.
And understanding that you don't have to do a big dramatic change in your eating pattern. You just need to do one thing. When I started, I did this tremendous change.
Yes, you really did.
I just went 8, and I had a lot of food go bad instantly because I was trying to get it all together, and I was trying to learn. So now I just do things slightly, one thing, and just making one change every 2 weeks, one change every 21 days.
Can you imagine?
Because they talk about things stick if you're doing the same thing over and over for at least 21 days to 28 days. So make it stick. 1 month, do something different, see how you like it.
Sense.
And the beauty of it is that you're experimenting. You're trying new things. And I'm big on trying everything new. And so one of the, we do a lot of books too, and we read a lot of books to try and bring the information to you. One of the books that I love is by Shonda Rhimes, and it's called the book, The Year of Yes. And so the beauty of it, and I started reading it, I'm like, oh, this is so silly. But it got to me where it's like, she was saying yes to her life. So for 1 year, she had to do the things that she didn't want to do, or she was lazy to do, or she didn't think it was going to be so cool. And she did it. And the beauty of it was that she expanded her life.
Oh, her life is unreal
and
now.
it just became so amazing, where she included her friends, family, and all this stuff. And also being able to, as you see your year of yes, you start realizing the things that you don't want in your life.
True.
That you want to move a little bit away from, or change up, or, be able to do different things.
Right.
Like there's a saying, do one thing that scares you every day.
Right.
And I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said that. And do just one thing every day that scares you. Wouldn't that be an amazing life? Don't go play in traffic, but
skydiving would be
but go skydiving, go jump off a cliff.
Right.
And my joke is every time I say I want to go jump off a cliff, people go, oh, you're suicidal. I'm like, I'm not suicidal. I want to go hang gliding.
Right.
That's my jump off a cliff.
Great.
And jump off a cliff and go in through the water. Won't do it twice. Maybe not. But,
you never know.
But it'll be so much fun to at least do it once in your life.
Because
how many times can you say, hey, I did that?
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer on the rocking chair theory. My rocking chair theory is, I don't want to be in my rocking chair at 90 years old going, I regret. I wish I would have. I wish I could have. I wish I had. I wish I'd done. I don't ever want to do that with my life. So year of yes starts today, starts tomorrow, starts whenever you're starting. And you just try it. Do it. Read a new book. Read something that that you've never read before. Metaphysics is so amazing.
Biology of Belief.
Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. If you haven't read his book, oh my God, something that you really need to read.
Great books.
There's great books, and another one that I really love is Richard Bach. Richard Bach is, I consider him like the guru of life, because he has these wonderful books that it just makes you think. And for me, life is so wonderful when you make me think. Make me think about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what possibilities are out there. And if you want to start with Richard Bach, his best book that I just love, and it's on audio, Audible books, And you can get it for free, by the way. If you've never done an Audible book,
Oh.
you can get it for free. So make your first free Audible book, his book, which is Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Oh, he's the one that wrote that?
He
I
wrote that
remember
book.
that book. That's like, I don't know, a long time ago.
Amazing book on
Oh.
living and being slightly different from the crowd.
Right.
So I would say that
think we
anybody
are.
that has had cancer, you are slightly different from the crowd.
And that's a good
Not
thing.
because of the fact that you have the cancer, but because it makes you think differently about your life.
Right.
And you start exploring more things.
Right.
So
And you jump into a
yeah.
second act with that.
So
you
yeah,
know?
you jump
Yeah.
into the second act of
True.
life. You know, so by all means, feel free and give us give us a jingle, send us an email at info@cancertamer.org and tell us about the books that you've been reading or the books that you would like us to read. If you have a book that you wrote
Yeah, let
on
us
breast
know.
cancer or in cancer in general, by all means, let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll review it on if we don't like it, we won't review it.
We'll give you our feedback.
But we'll give you our feedback.
Yeah.
But one of the and that brings me to the subscription of Cure.
Yeah, great magazine.
And I didn't bring the magazine, but we have the card. This is a free magazine that is out there. It's called Cure, Cure. It's all about the different things that they're doing with cancer,
Yeah.
not just breast cancer, but cancer
Oh,
across
any
the
cancer.
board. It's totally free for individuals with cancer, for individuals that love people with cancer, for anybody. It's just a free magazine out there. You can subscribe if you don't know how to get it. Go to our website and we will have a link there for it.
Right.
And it just has wonderful information
yeah.
about the different medications or the different people's stories and so on. It's a very inspirational magazine.
Yeah, that's
there was
good.
also,
I've learned,
Debra was wonderful and she went out and she got a whole bunch of information about crowdfunding.
Yes.
And, people go, oh, well, we don't want to talk about money and raising money, and we can't do that here either. But you can go out and get assistance for paying for your medicine, for paying for
your medical
for
expenses.
medical expenses.
Yeah, I was amazed because there's crowdfunding, there's CrowdRise, R-I-S-E, there's GoFundMe, which everyone has heard of, there's Fundraiser, which is F-U-N-D-R-A-Z-E-R, there's Fundly, F-U-N-D-L-Y, there's Give Forward, there's You Caring, and there's Razoo, R-A-Z-O-O. There's all these things that can help you with your medical expenses, because why would you not take if you needed to take medication and you couldn't take it because you couldn't afford it?
Because you couldn't afford it. And we know somebody, I won't say her name, but one of my friends actually just received a $12,000 grant.
Wow.
To be
That's
able to
amazing.
get her medicine because she has infusions.
Oh,
so
and
she
they're
has,
expensive.
I believe it's like a liver pancreatic cancer.
Right.
And so her infusions are $8,000 a pop.
Yeah. Isn't
And
that ludicrous?
So, yeah. And so
You hear that out there, politicians?
yeah. So being able to get that funding that she needed to be able to get her medicine so she could be alive, which is so important. And so different opportunities out there, different ways of, working for yourself and being able to advocate for yourself.
Right.
And we are just big believers on advocating for yourself.
Definitely.
Because it's so important to be able to do things for yourself, for your loved ones. I heard a lot when I was going through my treatment of, your insurance isn't going to pay for that. Your insurance isn't going to pay for that. And I'm like, yes, it will. And so, I had to go out and then just go to my insurance and say, hey, will you pay for this?
And it takes a lot of time to do that, though, too,
and
when
it
you're
does.
not feeling good.
It became, I had a career in finding ways to help myself. To
be online for a half hour waiting on the phone with the silly music, da, 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 and then all of a sudden it gets disconnected.
Yeah, or
I hate that.
Or the fact that you have to repeat yourself.
Right.
So one of the things that we did with the breast cancer from diagnosis to surgery book was that we actually have places where you can write all your information. So the one thing that I would do is I would bring the book and the doctor would say, oh, well, tell me about yourself. I'm like, read, and I would just give them the book,
Right.
read it,
Yeah,
because I got
that's true.
so tired and so frustrated on having to repeat myself.
Right.
And so I got to the point where it's like I don't talk to PAs, I don't talk to physician's assistants, I don't talk to medical nurses.
Right.
I will say hi and here you can take my temperature, but I'm not going to discuss my case.
Yeah, and then go through it
because then
10
I have to
times.
tell you, and then I have to tell the next person, and then I have to tell
Right.
the doctor.
That's
So I'm like,
true.
okay, I'd rather wait extra. And I just say it one time.
Right, 'cause it's
Because
exhausting.
It's exhausting, but I also think that the more that you believe in something, the more that you consider that for yourself, that's your story. That's my story is not I have cancer. My
Right.
story is cancer was there. Now I'm done with it. Now
Right.
I'm going to the next phase. So I'm a big believer on what you tell your brain
Oh, yeah.
is what's happening.
Yeah, that's what works.
I love Paul Coelho, who did The Alchemist, the book The Alchemist.
Oh, yes.
And I was recently listening to that book again. And again, love audibles because I'm always in the car driving somewhere and doing things. So I like listening to the books because I'm busy doing other things. But I loved the one part that he said in that book where be careful what you say about yourself because life is listening.
Wow, that's heavy.
And that was really powerful.
Right.
Life is listening. And so whatever you tell yourself, that's what's going to happen. So we're hearing music, so that means we're at the end of our show. Another show here on Cancer Tamer. Thank you so much for joining us and being with us. And thank you, Debra,
Thank you very
for
much.
being here. And you've been listening to Cancer Tamer. Thanks for watching.